Welcome back to Introduction to Computer Science at SSFS. In the last video, we looked at using variables and basic expressions to calculate some information and then print that information back to the user. In the program we created, we found the area of a triangle by multiplying the base times the height divided by 2. And that's great, but if I want to do a different triangle, I have to change the numbers in my code, make that 8 and this 27, and then rerun the code. It would be a lot nicer if the user could actually input what numbers they wanted, so we give the power back to the user. Today we're going to talk about how to get input from the user. So I'm going to click at the top of my program, and to get input we need to use a function in Python called input. So I'm going to say base of triangle equals input. And you can see that inside the parentheses it wants a prompt. And the prompt is, what information do you want the user to see? So I'm just going to type a string. What is the base of the triangle? And I'll put a colon there. And then I'm going to do the height of the triangle equals input. What is the height of the triangle? So the way the input function works, and actually I'm going to go ahead and delete these two that I have down here. The input function prompts whatever you type in the parentheses to the user. It takes that information and stores it in the variable that you set the input function equal to. So what it would do, if I typed in 7, it would assign the value of 7 to base of triangle. If I did 10 for the height of the triangle, it would take 10 from the user and assign it to the height of the triangle. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to run it, and it says, what is the base of the triangle? I'll type in, let's make a big triangle, 50. What is the height of the triangle? Let's type 30. And then I get an error. It says, can't multiply the sequence by a non-integer type of type string. And what that's saying is the problem's up here in line, see it says line 5. In the line 5, it's taking the base of the triangle and multiplying it by the height of the triangle. And it's saying I can't do that with strings. And what's happening is anything the user types in is automatically saved as type string. So what we have to do is we have to convert that string to an integer or a float. If we were going to use decimals, we use float. Whole numbers would be integers. Let's go ahead and convert these by typing in a simple function. So for the base of triangle, I'm going to type int and then put the base of the triangle in parentheses. What that means, this int function says, take whatever is in here and convert it into an integer. And I'm going to do the same for the height of the triangle. I'm going to convert it to an integer. So let's go ahead and run my program again. What is the base of the triangle? Let's type in 50. What is the height of the triangle? Let's do 30. The area of a triangle with base 50 and height 30 is 750. We've converted the string from the input into an integer that Python can use to calculate. And anytime you are getting input from the user, you must make sure that it's in the right data type for whatever you plan to do with it. Well, let's look at one other problem. What if I have a base of a triangle that's 13.5 and the height of the triangle is 6? Again, it's trying to do two integers when I put in a decimal number, and the decimal is a float. So the best thing to do is when you're getting numerical information from a user is convert those to floats. Because even if I type in an integer, it'll work. So let's run this again. What is the base of the triangle? 13.5 and 56.7. And it gives me my answer. If I run it one more time, even with just integers, the base of the triangle is 6 and the height of the triangle is 9, it still gives me the correct answer. So the easiest thing to do when you're getting input is always convert it to a float, and then you won't run into problems if your user happens to type in a decimal number. The other way to do it, which we'll talk about later, is to keep prompting the user until they give you the type of information that you want, and we'll talk about that in an upcoming unit. So that's it for variables. For our next topic, we'll start looking at functions in more detail.